La mia vita prima di fare questo intervento, purtroppo,
Before the operation, my life was quite difficult. I had difficulty breathing. On the stairs, I needed to rest after 4 steps. I couldn't do many things, such as lifting weights. My life was very affected by the illness. But the most important thing was that I could not breathe properly.
It was a disaster. A disaster because he was very, very fatigued. He couldn't breathe anymore. It was a situation that really worried me. It was also his mood. Let's just say he was very, very sad because we saw the sudden drop in his health. Every day he got worse. As I see it, patients who can't even think of taking their grandchildren to the playground because they are out of breath are sufficiently at risk to start considering, cardiologists and patients alike, a lesser invasive heart therapy such as the Circulite system. This patient was older and frail, for whom heart failure treatments all had been tried and whose quality of life was miserable, repeatedly hospitalized and unable to do anything. Simply moving around at home caused him dyspnea.
I was diagnosed with terminal heart failure, and I thought I didn't have much time left.
This patient had no other options, and we truly deemed that this was the best therapy for him and trusted that this was a viable option, and the results have confirmed it.
I think that deciding to have the surgery was a good choice. I have to say that the day after the operation, I could breathe normally.
The
main improvement in the patient's life was related to his breathing. After the operation, he could breathe normally and could do many things he couldn't do before, such as walking in the ward corridor. After some time and movement, his muscle tone improved, and he managed to do things he couldn't even think of before the operation. It was a disaster. That would be the right word. Whereas now, it's no longer a disaster. It is much, much better. I can see it myself. I would definitely tell a patient who is inquiring about getting this that they should do it because of the good health level.
The post-surgical recovery of our patients has been extremely rapid and surprisingly uneventful.
The changes we noticed when we followed up with this patient after implanting the Circulite, as for the symptoms and functional ability, there was a rather swift improvement compared to what we were used to seeing with other types of assist devices. By functional ability, we mean being able to enjoy again what he liked doing. This gave us great satisfaction because this is the result we wish to see when we treat heart failure. That is, that patients can go back to living their life the way they wish to. He could go on holiday and stayed on holiday for the whole summer. He went from the seaside to the mountains and back. So the patient is feeling well. He even went dancing with his wife to celebrate their anniversary. So I can say that he has a good quality of life. So now, thanks to God and thanks to this blessed pump, we're thankful to who invented it. He's doing better.
Queste sono le 2 batterie. no? Che sono collegate con questo.
These are the two batteries that are connected to the controller. The batteries give power and the controller transmits it to the cable, which gives power to the pump. And the pump gives 4 liters of blood per minute. This is of great help to the ventricle. In my view, you should definitely do it. This is better than an open chest operation. I only had a device implanted under my skin. It was a simpler intervention. It was a very positive experience for me, and I definitely recommend it. A positive experience.
Che è molto positivo.
Indubbiamente l'impianto di questa nuova
The implantation of the new Circulite device is undoubtedly very innovative. This is, in fact, a device that can be inserted in the least invasive way. As you can see, the device is characterized by its very small size. It consists of an inflow tube, which is inserted into the atrium. This is the inflow cannula that goes inside the atrium. You can see the head of the cannula that needs to go in the atrial cavity. This is a drive line that comes out of the chest. It is very small. This is a very important feature. The pump is also small, like a penlight battery. And the outflow graft, a prosthesis which is sutured to the subclavian artery. Circulite implantation takes place by way of a minimally invasive technique, with a small mini thoracotomy and a 4 to 5 cm wide incision, 1 cm below the clavicle. So this is extremely different from the implantation of current generation VAD, which inevitably involve sternotomy, a procedure that is more invasive for the patient. This is a tiny device, without competitors in this field. It is minimally invasive, thus substantially different from VAD devices. Due to the features of this device, the post-operative recovery is very different from that of a current VAD. The Circulite procedure is much more simple. The patient is extubated after 3 or 4 hours. The degree of bleeding is also a positive aspect of the Circulite. Due to the reduced tissue dissection, the bleeding is kept to a minimum.
I pazienti sono stati estubati entro poche ore.
The patients have been extubated within a few hours and have been fully awake in the first day after the operation, simultaneously with the mobilization phase. The recovery is therefore quicker and simpler than that of any heart surgery, irrespective of a VAD implant. Usually, general heart surgery patients are extubated within the first post-operative day after the surgery and are not mobilized any earlier than the second day after the operation. Even in a simple case of mini sternotomy, aortic valve replacement, or mitral valve surgery. It would not be too much to think that in the future 80 or 90% of patients will receive a partial support technology. I think that it will be more and more widespread, and it will become a cornerstone in the future treatment of heart failure. As a new generation heart surgeon, I learned about this technology early on, and as a result I am familiar with this technology. I firmly believe in this technology. The figures on heart failure are astonishing. Hundreds of thousands of patients in Italy alone, not to mention in other markets. And such a device will be able to lengthen the lifespan by tens of years. As happened lately when the electrotherapy, ventricular resynchronization, was used. The ventricular resynchronization has extended the lifespan of heart failure patients. I can foresee a similar scope of applicability for the synergy, with improved quality of life, improved survival, and reduced load of pharmacological therapy.
Per me va benissimo.
I'm very satisfied. I would recommend it.